Warriors, NRL Fanatics, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and this is going to be my Round 7 game preview between the Melbourne Storm and the New Zealand Warriors, a game which has been played on Monday the 25th of April on Anzac Day. Huge occasion, massive game, and it's been played at 7 PM Australian Eastern Time, so 9 PM for those in New Zealand, so it's a bit of a late kickoff for those watching at home. Now, I'm going to go through both team lists, give my thoughts on each side overall, and give a rating, and also go through the head-to-head stats, betting prices, key players to watch, a score prediction, anytime try scorers, and man of the match towards the end of the video. So, starting off with the Melbourne Storm side, the home team. At fullback is Ryan Papenhuyzen, on the wing is Nick Meaney, and in the centres is Remus Smith and Justin Olam. Xavier Coates on the other wing, while in the halves is Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes. Jesse Bromwich is the prop, while Harry Grant's the hooker. Nelson Asofa Solomona takes up that other prop spot, and Felice Kafusi in the second row with Kenneth Bromwich and Josh King is the lock. To the bench for the Melbourne Storm now, it is Brandon Smith, Tyrone Wishart, Trent Liero and Tepai Maroa, and the reserves are Marion Seve, Alec McDonald, Jordan Grant, Jack Horf, Bronson Garlick, Cooper Johns, and Chris Lewis there. So that makes up the Melbourne Storm side. Now for the New Zealand Warriors team, it is Reece Walsh at fullback, Dylan Watene-Zelezniak on the wing, Jesse Arthurs is in the centres with Adam Pompey and Edward Cozy on that other wing spot. In the halves is Chanel Harris-Tavita and Sean Johnson. Adam Fanua-Blake's the prop, while Wade Egan's the hooker. Matthew Lodge returns to the run-on side to replace Bunty Afoa. He's back from an injury, and he's starting prop. Ewan Aiken in the second row with Bailey Serenin, and Josh Curran is the lock. To the bench now, and it is Cody Nikorima, Bunty Afoa, Aaron Pene, and Elias Sakatoa. And the reserves are Jazz Tavanga, Viliami Valia, Rocco Berry, Valangi Kipu, Junior Ratuva, Garrett Smith, and Taniela Otukolo. So, yeah, looking at both team lineups there, the Melbourne Storm, very strong team on paper. Not too many surprises there with their selections this week. The Warriors, it's great to see that Matthew Lodge is back in the starting side. And, he will make a big difference for a 4-pack there. And also, Jazz Tavanga named in the reserves, which maybe we could see him come onto the bench, late inclusion onto the bench. But, look, for me, looking into who's got the better side in terms of matchups. Now, if you're looking at the outside backs, you think Melbourne, for me, have definitely got the wood there in that area. But I'm going to say it. I know this might be something that people disagree with here, but I personally think that our bench is a lot better than the Melbourne Storm. Besides Brandon Smith and Tyrone Wishart, the Warriors got the likes of Bunty Afoa, Aaron Pene, and Elias Sakatoa coming off the bench. So, look, besides that, I think we've got the better bench overall on paper there. But, Melbourne probably, personally, from my point of view, do have it in the outside backs. So, yeah, look, I'm looking forward to the battle between Reece Walsh and Ryan Papenhuyzen. Yes, Ryan Papenhuyzen's got the experience over Reece Walsh, but Reece Walsh has been playing well lately as well. So, yeah, look, overall, in terms of a rating, in terms of the team lineups for me, Melbourne Storm for me get an 8, the Warriors get a 7 out of 10. So, yeah, let's now look into the betting prices in terms of Sportsbet Australia. Now, the Melbourne Storm, no surprise here for me, they're paying $1.10. Warriors, massive outsiders at $7. Now, in terms of key players to watch, Melbourne Storm, plenty of threats out there on the field. You've got the likes of Jerome Hughes, and you've got Cameron Munster. Cameron Munster against the Cronulla Sharks just had an outstanding game. Man of the match for me against the Sharks for Cameron Munster last week. And, look, we have to watch out for Cameron Munster because, we know what he's going to do. We know what he's like as a player. And Jerome Hughes, has been playing well this season also as well. So, yeah, those are two players to watch out for me in terms of the halves. You've also got the likes of Harry Grant starting at hooker as well. So, another player that is quite a threat on the field. And looking to their 4-pack for the Melbourne Storm, you'll say the likes of Felice Kafusi and Nelson Sofa-Sonamona and Jesse Bromwich. You know, those are key players in terms of their pack there for the Storm. So, yeah, look, those are my key players. Look out for the likes of Xavier Coates on the wing as well. You know, he's a try scorer and we need to be very cautious watching him. So, yeah, those are my key players for the Storm. Now, in terms of the Warriors, look, pretty obvious. I'm going to go with Reece Walsh here. Now, Reece Walsh, remember, made his debut in this particular fixture last year on Anzac Day. It was a game which, you know, did not go our way. We got absolutely pants. You know, we got flogged. But Reece Walsh was a player that stood out for me, you know, because it's not an easy game to come up against a tough opponent like the Storm up in Melbourne to make your debut. And Reece Walsh definitely didn't show any fears whatsoever when he was playing on the field. You know, he assisted in a few tries. He looked very dangerous with the ball. And Melbourne, you know, they were trying to limit him. And, you know, probably what helped the Warriors is Melbourne did know nothing about Reece Walsh going into this game. They knew nothing about him. But in saying that, you know, Reece Walsh on the day, you know, I thought he was one of our shining lights in that game despite the scoreline. So, yeah, look, in terms of this year so far in regards to Reece Walsh, you know, he's come back from suspension. You know, he's had a few good games there. And look, I personally think that there's been probably a lot more responsibility on Reece Walsh, and we need to make sure there's not too much responsibility on him because, you know, we want to see his best on the field. We want to see Reece Walsh running with the ball, and we need our, you know, halves to help out. We need our forwards to help out to give Reece Walsh that platform to be a dangerous player on the field, be a threat on the field in terms of attack. We know Reece Walsh's attacking game is so good. His defence has improved massively as well for the first couple of games of the season, where there's been a lot of talk around Reece Walsh's defence last year. But he's a key player for me, and we need to make sure we get plenty of ball to him in this game in terms of, you know, Reece Walsh getting that involvement around the field. So, yeah, Reece Walsh for me, key player. Another key player for me in terms of the halves is Shaun Johnson. Now, Shaun Johnson, for me, coming back from that injury, has not been at his best. Yes, he got a field goal against the Cowboys, but besides that, look, you know, last week, you can tell that Shaun Johnson was very disappointed with his performance against the Roosters. He was not happy post-match. So, you know, experienced players, good players, don't have bad games in a row, many weeks in a row. So look for Shaun Johnson to step up against the Storm, help with our kicking game as well, and guide this team across the field. And you look at our forwards now with Adam Fanua-Blake. He's been our best forward this season so far by far. He's been a standout. His work rate is just incredible with his running meters. And, you know, defensively he's very good. So look out for Adam Fanua-Blake in that 4-pack to be the leader in the pack. And we've also got to look at the likes of Josh Curran as well, who's been having a good season so far. So those are my key players for the Warriors and my key players for the Melbourne Storm. Now, moving on to the head-to-head stats. Now, both these sides have played 47 times since 1998. And the Melbourne Storm have the record here of 29 wins from the Warriors, 16. And there's been 2 draws as well. But the recent history against the Storm for the Warriors is not great at all. Melbourne have completely dominated us. We haven't won against the Storm in a long, long time as well. I believe we haven't beaten the Melbourne Storm since 2014. And we haven't beaten the Storm in AAMI Park in Melbourne since 2011. So it's been a long time for drinks for the Warriors in terms of getting wins against the Storm here. So, yeah, you look at the previous meetings. Sunday, the 30th of June, 2021. New Zealand Warriors 16, Melbourne Storm 42. And then you've got the Anzac Day clash this time last year, the 25th of April 2021. Melbourne Storm won at 42 points to 20. So, yeah, it's not the greatest of records there. But, yeah, win record at AAMI Park. Melbourne Storm 138 to 103. Warriors are 3 from 11. Now, coming into this game, and where both teams sit on the ladder. So, the Warriors come into this game 9th spot on the ladder with a 3 wins and 3 loss record. Melbourne Storm, a 2nd spot on the ladder, and they are with a 5 wins and 1 loss record. Now, in terms of upcoming games for the Melbourne Storm. They next take on their Newcastle Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium next week, and that's in round 8. And then they've got the Dragons at AAMI Park in Melbourne round 9, followed by the round 10 clash against the Penrith Panthers, which will be an absolute cracker. That's at Suncorp Stadium for Magic Round. And then round 11, they take on the Cowboys at QCB Stadium, which is Queensland Country Bank Stadium. For the Warriors, next week, they've got the Canberra Raiders in round 8 up there at Moreton Daily Stadium, which will be a game I will be attending. So there will be a game day vlog for that game. And then they've got the Cronulla Sharks at PointsBet Stadium in round 9 in Sydney. That'll be tough. Followed by the South Sydney Rabbitohs in round 10 for Magic Round at Suncorp Stadium. And round 11 versus the Dragons at WIN Stadium. So, yeah, look, now on to the most hardest part of the preview. And that is coming to terms with doing a score prediction at any time try scorers and man of the match. Now, if we're to cause an upset down in Melbourne, we need to have a good start like we did against the Roosters. We need to, frustrate the Melbourne Storm. We need to force errors. We need to make Melbourne do uncharacteristic things that they don't usually do, Look, Melbourne Storm are not unbeatable. We've seen this year, they've had 2 games taken to the wire down there at AAMI Park. They've had South Sydney Rabbitohs, they've had Parramatta Eels. Parramatta Eels went down there and beat them in Golden Point. South Sydney, almost came from behind to beat the Melbourne Storm in that game there as well. So the Storm are not, unstoppable. They're not unstoppable whatsoever. But in saying that, Melbourne Storm, those teams they played up there at AAMI Park, those teams are very good teams. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, the grand finalists from last year. Yes, it's a new coaching regime there, but they're still grand finalists. And you've also got Parramatta. It's pretty much the same Parramatta side it's been for the few years now. So, look, Melbourne, it's a difficult task. We need to do the basics right. We need to complete our sets. Don't give away penalties. Defensively, we need to be strong. We need to do all those stuff right. We need to do the correct stuff right. So, AAMI Park, look, our last win, like I said, was back in 2011 against the Melbourne Storm at AAMI Park. But in saying that now, look, I really want to back us in here. And, there'll be people that will probably give me stick here in the comment section because I'm not going to back us in. But my heart's saying, I hope we win. I really hope we win. I hope we come out there. I hope we can, compete for the full game. We did show we can compete against the Roosters last week, but we need to show that against the Melbourne Storm and back it up and do it for a whole game against this quality side. And look, my head is personally saying here that unfortunately I'm gonna have to tip the Melbourne Storm. And I know people come out here and say, look, why are you not backing your team and that? But I've really got to think with my head more than my heart here. So I'm going to the Melbourne Storm to win. Now, I do hope the boys can come out there and prove me wrong and get an upset win. And that'll be huge, actually. It'll be massive if we can get a win over the Storm in Melbourne, because it'll also push us back inside that top 8 spot as well. So it's such a, big game for us. It will test where we are, and, it tested us last week against the Roosters. And the big question mark here for me is what's going to happen with the refereeing in this game as well. We need to make sure we take the refereeing decisions and that stuff out of this game, because we need to be competitive throughout the game. So, in saying that now, I'm going to go with the Melbourne Storm here to win 32 points to 18, unfortunately. And anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Ryan Papenhuyzen, Cameron Munster, and Harry Grant to score. And also Reece Walsh to score as well, and Jesse Arthurs and Edward Cozy for me. So, in terms of the man of the match for this one, for War Warriors and standout player, I'll go with Josh Curran. And for the Melbourne Storm, I will say Cameron Munster to step up. So, yeah, look, that wraps up my Round 7 Anzac Day preview between the Melbourne Storm and the New Zealand Warriors. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you believe we can pick up a surprising upset win over the Melbourne Storm? Or do you think we can be competitive and keep this game close throughout the whole game? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And yeah, if you're new to the channel and you're watching all these videos, guys, I would appreciate it if you do make sure you do subscribe to the channel, because it helps out massively. And yeah, I'd also like to thank those who have recently subscribed to the channel. And at the moment, the channel's doing alright, so we're at the 1,060 subscriber mark now. Also, don't forget as well to like the video. Click the like button on the video. Click the thumbs up on the video. Click the bell so you don't miss a notification when I go live on the channel next, or when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.